what are those kind of connections between this rights-based work, the need for local power, and how that intersects with a broad swath of social movement demands that we're seeing today. So as you get yourself unmuted, I'll just provide a little bit of context, which is, these constitutional amendments are proposing governing authority for local communities in a way that challenges these very reactive forms of state preemption, where states are passing laws all over the country. This is like a right-wing tactic that are clamping down on all sorts of social movements, whether that's local communities' ability to govern police forces, to increase the minimum wage, to pass paid sick leave, just a large swath of social movement demands are being vetoed, essentially, where communities are not given, are said that they don't have any authority over this. So Ben, can you talk a little bit about some of the potential that exists here? Folks have asked about our commitment towards indigenous communities, indigenous sovereignty, Black organizing, and people of color. And so can you speak to some of that?
Sure, thanks, Simon. It's a big topic. And first, I'd like to say that over the years, our work has been, I would say at first, maybe not understood. What was it we were getting at? Why were we driving for local self-governing authority? Why was that important? Why would we challenge the existing laws that are on the books? Drafting ordinances at the local level and at the county level that challenge the status quo, as Michelle was talking about. Why do we do that? And I think that for a number of years, it made some of our potential allies uncomfortable. It seemed like a far distance to go, that maybe we could still work within the system as it is and get the outcomes that we were looking for. I would say that there's been some success in educating and opening people's eyes to the real challenges that we have, that the system of law that we are suffering under, and not just under this administration, it's developed and evolved, and it's taken quite a long time. But I think that we're at a point where there is a possibility of a wider movement being built, that people are beginning to connect the dots and to see that we have a common problem, whether you're working on prisoners' rights or workers' rights or rights for nature or voting rights or racial justice or gay and lesbian rights, you name it. I think that we're able to connect some dots and to realize that what the problem is that a real broad spectrum of rights is being denied in many kind of convoluted ways that makes it hard and has made it hard for us to identify over the years. We're beginning to understand that people have rights, whatever category, whatever community they're in, and that should have rights to self-determination as communities, collective rights where they live, to make decisions about what their community is going to look like and who's going to have impacts on it, good or bad. And finding those commonalities has got to be part of, I think, how we establish a broader movement. Rights of nature is a focus that we've embraced, and for Earth Day, that's what our focus is talking about. We have a lot of social justice issues that we're interested in working with communities on as well. But the fact is that over the years, people would not have come to CELDEF asking for help if the system as it exists worked for them, whether it was the labor relations board or environmental agencies, you name it, if local officials or state officials were accessible to citizens and would hear their concerns and take seriously the issues that they were bringing to them of injustice on lots of levels, then there probably wouldn't be a need for CELDEF. It would be great. Someone said recently in staff that it would be great if we could put ourselves out of business by succeeding in establishing a system that is open to the people, to the citizens, and to creating outcomes that serve not a minority of wealthy corporate investors, but serves the communities across the country, and that serve protecting their land base, their ecosystems, of which they're a part and on which they depend. So that larger movement has got to happen. Right now, it feels like it's possible. And it's a strange thing that under this pandemic, I think people were able to have some time to reflect and consider what's important to them and what they can do without, and what they've been paying too much attention to and what they haven't been paying enough attention to. And also, I think that we're unfortunately, but rightly, becoming more and more alarmed at the devastation that human activity has brought to the natural world and to the communities in which we live. 20, 30 years ago, it may have been unthinkable that the government would allow corporations to come in and do the damage that they do through fracking and pipelines and all kinds of environmental damages. It may have been unthinkable. And now it's not only thinkable, it's routine. And people are appalled that they don't seem to have any mechanisms, any established mechanisms for protecting themselves. And it's up to us. In the end, it's not up to those institutions to do the work for us. They're not doing it, they're failing. And it really is up to all of us to come together and not remain siloed in our particular interests, to find that we have a huge common problem. We've often said in our organizing and among the staff that we don't have environmental and social justice problems as much as we have democracy problems, because people are not, they're disempowered by the system itself. Certainly those are real problems. They are problems. But approaching them and solving them is going to take all of us working in a new way. This is a good time for us to be reflecting on that.